This is Dillon Quebedeaux with EXP Realty, and you're watching Louisiana on Fire.
What's up, Louisiana? It's Tim Davis. You're watching another episode of Louisiana on Fire. It's 2025, and we're starting this year off with a bang. And our first guest of the year is Mr. Dillon Quebedeaux with EXP Realty. So I know you guys probably know about his daughter, Emmy. Probably heard about everything that she has to go through as a young child and everything. But there's a lot more to Dillon and his family. And we're going to learn more about him and the struggles they've been through with Emmy and everything, but also the good stuff about their family and whatnot. So we're going to hop right into it. So Mr. Dillon Quebedeaux, man, tell us about yourself, man. Tell us where you're from.
Yeah, man, Tim, I really appreciate you you reaching out to me to share more of our story. I really have been feeling a tug from God lately to say, man, you need to really start talking about the things that you even grew up going through. It's Absolutely. Things that I've never talked about before, yeah. and maybe somebody else can hear it. And,
Absolutely.
And build off of that, or maybe it inspire them to keep on going.
That's why we do this, man, because I feel like we got a lot of people that make a lot of big moves in Louisiana that people probably don't know about. And so we do this because I feel like people's going to hear your story and see that they have some things in common with you and with your family,
yep.
You know, or maybe they're going to be like, hey, you know what? I want to help that family. So this is why we do this, man. So, but we're going to get into this. We're going to peel away this onion that we call Dillon Quebedeaux and everything of his life story. But yeah, man. So tell us, man. Let us know.
Appreciate that. I will start off by saying I am an entry-level Christian. I will probably bring up God by accident, just where I am in life now, looking back. There's no other way to look at it, really, of knowing that He pulled me through everything that I've gone through for a reason, and I really
Yes.
think it's to start talking about it and moving and shaking some other people around. As far as me, yeah, I grew up, I think with an advantage, I would say, looking back now, being the person I am now, as far as seeing life, being able to see life through different lenses since I was a young child. I started out, I think I was 8 months when I first started having issues, medical issues. Throughout my life, I've had many surgeries. I'm sitting here today with 10 plates in my body, 4 screws. My ankles are staying together by plates, my knee, my wrist, all that good stuff. Had many surgeries going through that. But starting off at a young age, I would look around every time I would go into the hospital. At this time, it was the Women and Children's in New Orleans. And I would see other kids maybe with halos in their head, screws through their head that's just come out, just maybe can't walk, never walk, can't talk, all this good stuff. It would really make me say it can always be worse.
Yes.
It started my life at an early age with a whole lot of gratitude.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I know I haven't been through what you've been through on any scale, you know, through your life, but we can agree that, you know, people go through things and some people go through worse things, you know, but you have to be thankful for what you do have because somebody else always has worse, you know.
Absolutely.
So if you don't mind me asking, man, like, so tell us, let's go back and tell us about what, like, a diagnosis that you had when it comes to when you were growing up, or?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed, I believe, at 8 months with osteomosis, sarcoma. It's
Some
type
fancy
of
word. Yeah. Man.
Yeah. So dealt with that all my life, and I say all my life until I was about 18. I thought I was done with surgeries. Then I ended up having a hernia surgery. Kept on going through life, and then 2014, I was 24 years old. I ended up having a 6.5-inch tumor removed from my chest, a cancerous tumor removed from my chest. Yeah.
Man, so how did it come about? Were you feeling different? Like, what happened that day whenever
it just hit me all of a sudden? I was in real estate at the time. I worked for Keller Williams. I was in a meeting, and I had a really bad headache. Somehow drove myself to the walk-in clinic across the street from Lord's, and they swabbed me. He said, sounds like you have the flu. He swabbed me for the strep and the flu, and that wasn't it. He came back in. He said, Mr. Dillon, have you ever taken an x-ray of your chest? And I said, no, sir, I haven't. And he said, okay, let's do that. So we took an x-ray of my chest. By this time, my mom had gotten to the walk-in clinic, and we were both sitting in the room waiting. He came back in. He said, Mr. Dillon, do you know of anything very abnormal in your chest? I said, no, sir. And he said, come see. He took me to the back, to the x-ray room, and showed me that there was a huge something. He didn't know what it was in my chest. And he said, this is not supposed to be there. You need to get across the street.
Yeah.
To Lourdes.
To Lourdes at that. So like, were you feeling before that day? Did anything prior to that?
Never. Man, I was working out 2 times a day. I was in the best shape of my life at this time. Yep. And that's what I was wondering. It was actually a big mass inside of my rib cage, and I was wondering, working out and all, how haven't I felt this before?
Yeah.
And the doctor said that it was because it was inside of your rib cage, and it's hard to, that's why I didn't bulge out.
Right. Man,
Yeah.
so that was that was a cancerous tumor. Did they have a name for that type of?
Yes, that was a chondrosarcoma tumor was the fancy name for it. I ended up seeing, so we got to the emergency room, and right away they started running around. They needed to do a CT scan, MRI, all that good stuff. They sat there and made me and my mom answer a bunch of will questions, death questions. They didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And my mom was crying. We were, everybody's trying. I'm like, I feel fine. I'm going to be okay, So they freaked out. They said we're going to have emergency surgery. We'll study this, and we'll get to it in the morning. No more in the morning. The morning came, and we had another doctor come in, and she says, look, we studied this through the night, and it looks like it's something that's been growing inside of you for a long time. And so she said, it does have to come out. We don't know if it's cancerous or not. At the time, they didn't know. And she said, but you can, and I said, listen, I'm in real estate. At the time, I had a limousine business at night. And so I was grinding myself. I couldn't go down, my bills wouldn't stop.
Right.
So I told her, well, I got to get some things in order. So that was in August. In October, we ended up having the surgery. We took it out. I made an agreement with the doctor, Dr. Alam here in Lafayette. Love you, Dr. Alam. He was a cardiologist, but he said that he'd be able to take it out. And it was either that or me go to MD Anderson. And so he said, I'll give you a chance to talk about it. We'll come back. So he come back. He said, Dillon, are you going to let me take this out? Or are you going to go to MD Anderson? I said, under one circumstance, doc. And he said, what's that? I said, if you take a picture of the tumor when you take it out.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he said, deal. Yep.
Come on, man.
Yep. So he took out the tumor and he put an ink pen next to it. I still have the picture on my phone today. And I mean, it just swallowed up even the ink pen of the tumor. Yep. And they took out 3 ribs. I don't have any ribs on this side. So, yep. And after that, it was the funniest thing. So I was supposed to be in the hospital 2 weeks. I said, no way. I've done this many times before. I know what it takes. I got to walk. I got to eat, drink, all that good stuff. And that night, the night of my surgery, it was a Tuesday night, and he said I was going to be in there 2 weeks. The night of my surgery, I was like, I'm ready to walk. I had some friends over, and they said, you ready to walk? The nurse, when she went get an oxygen, I said, I don't need all that. I'm good. I'm gonna stop if I feel I'm running out of breath. So anyways, we made a lap around the hospital floor, and the next morning the doctor came in. He said, Dillon, what are you thinking?
Right.
Like, you're not ready to walk.
Supposed to be doing all this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I said, Doc, I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to go home. He said, oh no. So anyways, I was doing pretty well. That was Tuesday. That was Wednesday morning. By Thursday, I felt fine. I'm ready to go. And I had a chest tube, they called it, and it was the only thing that was keeping me there was the chest tube was seeing how much I was bleeding out of it or something like that. Anyways, it said it had to be. So we get to Saturday, and there's 2 days of me feeling good. We get to Saturday morning, 5 a.m. They come in. No, still not. Man, I said, come on.
Yeah,
Get
holding
up.
me back,
I said,
man.
Yep. I get up, man. I said, you know what, Mom? I still want to get up. I want to, get myself together. We went sit out on the patio of the doctor of the hospital floor, and the nurse came in and said, hey, the doctor's on the phone. in your room. So we run back in. The doctor said, "Hey, you ready to go? I'm gonna come take the chest tube out Saturday morning." So yeah, so from Tuesday to Saturday, I was out of there.
Had surgery. I mean, to take out
Major
a
surgery.
cancerous tumor.
Yep.
And you was out before.
Yep. On the Saturday. Yep.
Man, so I gotta ask you this, man. So how, as a person you've been in and out the hospital for years.
Yep.
How do you keep going? Like, what's that drive in you? Because I could see it in you, man. Like, you know, to have all these countless surgeries that you've had, you know, for your limbs and everything. Then the cancer, like, what is it? What's pushing you, man?
Gratitude, man.
Yeah.
Just being grateful and knowing that it can always be worse.
Yeah.
Even then, after my surgery, we went to MD Anderson for 2 years to just do tests and stuff on the spot of where they took the tumor out, make sure nothing was growing back. And man, looking around MD Anderson, just seeing the people that are struggling with cancer and doing chemo and all. I was fortunate to never have to do chemo, never have to do radiation. They took the tumor out, and it was cancerous. In fact, the doctor called me. It was about 2 weeks, and he said, "Dillon, are you sitting down?" I said, "Yes, sir." No, it wasn't going to be good, you know. And so he said it was cancerous, the tumor, but he said we took out 16 different lobes of things that it touched, and nothing else was cancerous.
Wow.
And he told me, he said, this is considered a low-grade chondrosarcoma tumor. If it would have been a high grade, it would have spread at that size. It would have spread, and I don't think I'd be here today.
Wow, man, that's a lot right there. And so, did they tell you, like, you know, what was the I guess the time frame? Like, if you would have waited longer, you think? Like, if you wouldn't have
we don't
went to the
know.
hospital?
We have no idea, man.
Yeah,
we don't know, because I've had other issues growing up. So I don't know if it was something to do with that. We really have.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, was it something like, you know, like from the other surgeries you had, maybe?
Nope, nothing that they can trace back. It was just a big tumor sitting in my chest.
Sitting there.
No telling how long.
And you working out?
Working out.
2 days.
Working,
doing 2
grinding,
days.
real estate, limousine business, all this stuff. Never knew it.
Wow, man. See, that's why I feel like, you know, God works in mysterious ways. You
Absolutely,
know,
man.
That was in you that you didn't know, but had to stop you in order for you to go and get it checked out. You know, because you always seem like
it was one of many God's times of shaking me up. Why he's shaking me up so much in life, I don't know. You know, but we continue to move forward and man, just pray. And just recently we've gotten really, really close with God, and you know, I just hear him calling me to start telling my story.
Yeah. So with that, man, like, you know, you guys got it's a huge story and everything, and we're definitely going to get into that. I did want to go back though, because when you were younger, what school did you go to when you was younger, man?
Scott Middle.
Scott Middle.
Started off at Dussault Elementary.
Yeah.
Scott Middle, then Acadiana.
You went to Acadiana. So you were a Ram. Damn, man.
Yeah, I'm a Ram.
Oh, man, I'm a Bear. I went to Karen Crow. It's okay, you know what I'm saying? I got a lot of friends.
My wife did too, but I don't tell many people that.
Got a lot of friends, you know, from Acadiana and everything. So when you were growing up, though, man, and you have siblings, correct?
Yeah, two brothers. Two older brothers.
Two older brothers. So all the stuff that you were going through, how was that affecting them when you were younger?
I really don't know. We don't talk about that much.
Really?
They were always there for me. We grew up with a lot of love in the family. My parents divorced when I was, I think, 4 or 5. And look, in that bad situation, it was the best that it could have been in my eyes. They both loved us. We shared a lot of love. My brothers growing up, you know, I'm not sure. I never really talked to them about it.
Yeah. Because I feel like, you know, you need that the family there. Sometimes it's unspoken, you know, to where I don't have to say anything for you to know that I care about you and that I'm there for you. And that happens a lot with males anyway. You know, we're supposed to be strong. We're not supposed to, you know, let people know about our feelings. We just got to go in, you know. So I understand that. I respect that. It's the same way it's been like that. But I've always been curious because of everything that I've known that you've gone through, you know, because I've been curious how people around you and how they might have viewed the situations and whatnot. Because, like I said, you're a go-getter. You're not stopping.
And I'll tell you one thing: they never looked at me any different.
Yeah.
My mom, my dad, my brothers, most of my family. So even though I walk around with a cast or on my arm, leg, whatever, I was never treated any different.
Yeah.
I think that was a big plus.
Yeah.
You know.
I
to
feel
shape
like
me into who I am today.
that's what I was gonna say, because I feel like, yeah, you were going through all that stuff, but you've been strong, and they were strong for you as well. And that strength that you have, man, I'm just so amazed by it, because I don't know how many people can go through the countless surgeries that you had, and then the other things with Emmy and whatnot.
It's God, man.
Yeah.
It's God.
Yeah. So with that, like, when did you start being like, you know what, I need to lean more on God?
Unfortunately, it wasn't really until last year, this
Yeah.
past year. I was in and out of God's life, to be honest with you, and I really shouldn't have been. Throughout the years, there's been many, many times where He shook at me, and I should have woken up, and I didn't.
Yeah.
So
we all hard-headed.
this last shakeup with Emmy really shook me,
Yeah.
and made me started reading the Bible more. Made me started going to church more, obviously. But we were going to church before, but not religiously. Like, I haven't missed a Sunday, since.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah. So, but just recently, but throughout the years, looking back today, there's been many, many times where he's shaking me up.
Really? Like, did you know that at the time that, like, this is God, or were you like,
No.
Yeah.
No. I'll tell you, going out of high school, I've had many jobs and started many different businesses, and tried to start many different businesses. I've had 3 different lawn cares. One of them, the first one was a friend of mine's parents let me borrow their lawnmower.
Yeah.
And stuff. I think I was 16 at the time. Picked up a few yards there, and then ended up eventually buying my own lawn equipment. Sold that one, and then
Sold that company.
Yeah, sold that one. Made a little money off of that.
Yeah.
Did well. Still didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And then I got a phone call that they wanted me to take care of a government. It was 2 and 3 bedroom houses. It was like 180 homes. It was a 1 property. Yeah. So, and I just sold all my equipment. I told her, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll get back. I'll see about it or whatever. So in 2 weeks, she called me back. She said, hey, if you thought about it? I'm like, man, I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do. I'm sitting on a little cash,
Right.
this and that. So, I ended up buying back into the business, brand new truck, trailer, all that stuff. And I get all prepared, brand new mower, brand new trailer, weed eat blowers, all that good stuff. And the week after I bought it, I'm all excited, got all this new equipment. And she stops answering my phone call.
Really?
Yep. So, man, that really threw me for a loop. And so I just had to go back to the drawing board and do what we would do in my other 2 lawn cares that I had. We would just knock on doors and ask for business. And it's funny how God works, man. We left the first day that I went out with this new truck, new trailer. I had one vision, and it was going to work out. Totally didn't work out. Never, still to this day, never heard from the lady again.
Wow.
Yeah, so the first day we get out, I called my buddy that used to help me cut, and he loved to go door to door with flyers. So I said, man, let's start another one. You know? So we pulled out of my mom's driveway. We get down the road, we get into this neighborhood, and we saw this lady bopping the clovers, and she's push mowing. And so I said, TJ, roll down your window and tell her we're just gonna knock this out for her. We don't have nothing else to do.
Right.
So she's like, oh my God. So look, so I said, put your mower up, but we'll knock this out for you. So she, man, I gotta get some water.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, man. Grab me some water, man. Yeah, this is a lot, and that's the thing, because I want, like, we're gonna talk about all that stuff. Yeah, you can bring that with you, man, if you need.
Okay.
Yeah, man, have that. Yeah.
So lady pushing clovers and really struggling. As we coming down the road, we can see her. So I told him to roll down the window and tell her we're just gonna take care of the yard. And so she wants to pay me for gas. I said, look, pay me $5 for gas. That's it. That's all. I didn't want anything. She demanded to pay. So she come out with $5. So we take off. While I was doing her yard, I had my friend go and knock on the doors in the neighborhood. And he come back, hey, this lady right here, she's ready for us to do it now. And, so that day we ended up knocking on the door and picking up 7 yards.
7 yards.
Yep. And so the end of the day, man, we were like, okay, all right, let's do this again.
Yeah.
So that went on for a couple of years, and they ended up Ended up selling that to my brother actually, and moved on to sales.
Yeah.
Got into sales.
I remember because like I know I had left, but that's one thing that Dylan and I have in common as well is that we both were at the dealership as well. So I had left, but when I would still go talk to the guys over there. Shout out to Justin, Maddox. Today's his birthday actually.
Oh wow, happy birthday, Justin.
So so I was going. I saw you over there, and I always saw your name at the top, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I'm like, man, this
yeah.
dude is just you're driven.
Yeah.
You're driven, man. It's like you don't have no quit in you.
Yep.
So that
Gotta
led
keep
you to
coming back,
sales. So I know you were doing the dealership. So what else, man? What else were you doing with sales when it comes to sales?
So I started off at Lafayette Power Sports actually, and I was selling quite a few bikes there. And I had a really good friend that would come visit me there, and he's a very wealthy guy. And he would say, "Man, you need to go into car sales." And I would say, "I can't stand car salesmen," And so he said, "You don't have to be that car salesman."
Right?
So
don't be that.
anyways, guy. So eventually I left Lafayette Power Sports and went. I went to Service Chevrolet.
Yeah.
And by the grace of God, they hired me there, and the general manager at the time, she said, "How many?" I brought the charts from Lafayette Power Sports of what I was selling. She said, "Obviously, you can sell something. How many cars do you think you can sell?" I said, "Whatever the top person's doing, I'm coming after."
Come on,
That's what I told her.
man.
Yeah, she said, "That's so and so," and she said, "He's been a top salesman for 13 years." I said, "I'm coming."
Yeah.
So my first month in the car business, I was a salesman of the month by I believe 6 cars. The very first month, 29 salesmen. Yep. So, and man, never really let off the gas after that.
Yeah.
Yep. So that took me, talking about God moments. That lasted a couple of years. Then I got an opportunity by a guy that I sold the vehicle to. He owned some Subways in town, and so, ended up trying to go out on my own. I knew I was always destined to do something on my own, you know. So it probably wasn't the best choice, and God told me that the day I left Service Chevrolet. I was nervous and everything else, and I was going to invest in these Subways, and I was on my way home. I picked up my little girl. Fortunately, turning into my neighborhood, I get a phone call. My wife had just gotten into a horrible wreck right down the road.
Come on, man.
Totaled her SUV the very first day I left Service Chevrolet. Yeah.
Man.
So that started that. I was supposed to go and do some inventory at Subway that obviously postponed it a few hours. I had to rush, kept on going. I was right there on Verot, kept on going. I seen a fire truck, and this traffic was just stopped.
Yeah.
Followed the fire truck all the way in, and there her car was all wrapped up in a tree. Luckily, her and my son was okay.
Yeah, man.
Yep, that was the start of the next journey, and so the Subway thing ended up not working out, unfortunately. But we go through those things, you know. And so I found my way back into the car business, back at Service Chevrolet. Yeah. By the grace of God, they took me back, and from there I was looking to extend out, just to kind of go to the next level. I ended up going to Courtesy. Where I saw you.
Right.
Yep. And the very first day at Courtesy was the day that COVID kicked off. I remember.
Wow.
Yep. I remember standing on the sales room floor, and I got a text from my wife. She said she was a teacher at Westside at the time, and I got a text from my wife, and it said, "Hey, they're sending us all home from school. I'm not sure what's going on." Yep.
Man.
So then COVID started. Did really well there the first few months. Like you said, was always on the top. Love you, Justin. But he inspired me. Yeah, he inspired me to grind a little harder than what I had been. Because he's as we all know, he's the top guy.
Oh yeah, man. You know, friendly competition, but
absolutely.
He's up there. And if you want to. Yeah, you can try to beat him, and I know you have, but that's one guy you want to.
He's at the top of his game for sure.
Man. Let me ask you that part though, because I'm interested in that. Like as far as because you got to Service, you were the top salesman the first month you got there. What did you do in order to do that? To become
so a little part I left out throughout. Ever since I was younger, my family was always lower middle class, and I had a lot of friends that were higher class, so to say. They just lived life different, and I would go to their house for the weekends, come back home, and I don't know, man. Something just clicked that I was gonna start living my life like my friends
them,
did.
yeah.
And way back then, I started listening to Jim Rome.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar.
Yeah.
The whole 9 yard. And so that any part of my life that I'm talking about, it was with a whole lot of stuff in my ears from them.
Right.
Yep.
Bro, because I see. I
Yep.
didn't
So
know
the day that I started service, I'm like listening to all these sales training already.
Yeah.
I'm getting pumped up. So yeah.
Man, so you did that, like I said, once again, that drive that you have, man, like
Yep.
that. You said, I'm determined, I'm going to be the top, and you did it.
Yep.
When you had the lawn business, and you guys, you said you and your brother, the limo business.
Yep.
Tell me
limo
about
business.
that.
Yep. I was selling real estate, and I was acting a fool at night. I was a single guy.
Yeah.
So every night I was out acting a fool, and I said, man, if I'm gonna do that, I need to find something that can take away me going out at night and stuff, and put me to work.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back I was in the restaurant industry before and all that good stuff. I didn't want to do that. And there was a lady at the Keller Williams office selling a limousine. She came in and she said, "You wouldn't want to buy a limousine, huh?" I said, "What would I do with that?"
Yeah.
And she said, "Okay, just ask him." So she went on, and here I am, Google limo business. I'm like, man, that'd be pretty cool,
Yeah.
So anyway, so I ended up going look at her limousine. She was asking $14,000 for it, and I ended up not going with that limousine, but buying another limousine from a lady from Crowley, for like half the price, and then that's how that started.
And that started, and you guys, so it was you and your brother that did that, right?
No, just
Just
me.
you.
Yep, just
So
me.
you went into
Yep,
it.
Yep. I never forget. I texted my dad. I'm like, "Hey, there's gonna be a limousine parked in your yard for now until I figure out what to do with it." He's like, "What are you in now?"
Man, so you got a limousine just like, I'm going to figure something out.
Yep. So I started doing, and so my brother did help me in the sense of he connected me with Wayne Toops. I'm sure we all know who Wayne is,
Yes.
and I would bring Wayne for nothing except tips to every show he had in town.
What?
And so VIP Luxuries was bringing Wayne Toops everywhere, and that's how I really got kicked off, because I'd bring him for free, but I'd make him post on his page.
Yeah.
And so they had a lot of followers, and that got us going that way.
Bruh, see, that's what I'm saying, man. You're mine. You're like, you know what? I'm going to get this. I'm not going to do 14,000, but I'm going to find this one. Find that. And then you got with Wayne Toops, who's a legend here, And then, hey, you know what, Wayne? Don't pay me, but just.
Yeah. Bring them to Lake Charles. I bring them all around. In fact, the Mardi Gras fair here, you'd see a limousine in the back. His family and stuff would be in the heat while he was performing during Mardi Gras.
So tell me, like, what's it going in your mind when you come across these, ventures?
Man. I mean, it really is just listening to people that talk about opportunity a lot, and then just whatever presents itself in my life, just trying to pursue it as much as I can.
Yeah. And when you get into something, you go.
I try to go all the way.
All the way.
Yeah, man. I try to go all the way.
Opportunity calling. There you go.
That was a Zillow call.
Yep. So hey, when
they call, Zillow comes before anything.
Yeah, you got to answer, man. So with that, you how did, as far as with Wayne Toops, how did you decided, you know what, I don't want to get paid. Like this.
I just knew. Following other guys out there, just knowing that I got to get out there. I got to get people to know me, to be able to do business with me, and I don't know. It just one day it popped. Like, my brother was working for Wayne at the time. He was doing production for him, and talking to Wayne about letting me ride him around, and it just ended up working that way.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and plug Wayne. Hey, Tim, you gotta talk to my boy Tim, man.
It's
Wayne
been
was
years,
coming for you.
Man, love Wayne, and he really helped my business out there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because I remember seeing you and your brother, and y'all posting about it and everything.
Yep.
So I didn't know that's how it popped off for you guys.
That's exactly how it popped off. Yeah.
Man, and then the RV. I know you guys are doing
the
that
RV
too.
thing come way down the road. Yeah. So the limo thing came. It took away my nights. But here comes my wife now. So that was when she came into play about that time. So she also had a son, had a 1-year-old son that I took in, and so I just needed to change my life a little bit. My nights could have been
Oh, yeah.
spent with them instead of going out on the limo. And then I started at Service Chevrolet. At this time, I was still doing the limousine thing. My wife would, my girlfriend at the time, would clean my car at the limousine while I was at work.
Yeah.
And then I would get to it at night. Yep. But so her and her little boy would do that, and we did that for a while. It just got to be a little too much, so I ended up selling it for way more than what I paid for it, and moved on from that.
Man,
Yep.
see, you guys did that, and that's a team. That's what we're going to get into. So look, we're gonna close out part 1 with Dillon Quebedeaux on this one here. Y'all guys got to stick around for part 2.
There's a whole lot more.
Dive
There's
into
a whole lot
Emmy.
more.
We're going to dive into the family and everything, and then we're going to talk about what he's doing now. So you guys stay tuned. Episode 21, part 2 is coming to you soon.
There you go.
Catch you on the
Get it
next
right,
one.
Mr. Tim.
Yeah, man. So we're going to do that. We're going to go into... What's up, Louisiana? Thanks for watching another episode of Louisiana on Fire. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Oh, and don't forget to hit that bell so you can be notified for the next episode.